Welcome to the crypto trading channel that introduced to all of crypto YouTube, both the EMA ribbons. So if you see anything like this on any other channel, this is the channel that introduced it to all of crypto YouTube, and origin lines, which you are seeing on your screen as of now. They could be in different colors. So I introduce new ideas to crypto YouTube that helps me teach you the two things that you're probably doing wrong if you're a new crypto investor. And that first is you don't know when to buy. You're clicking buy with your money, you don't know what you're doing. It screws you sometimes. And the second thing I teach you how to do is I teach you how and when to sell with statistical likely situations that you're selling at the right time so you can get more crypto later with what you just sold. Because you're scared to sell. And those are the two biggest things that you're probably doing wrong as a crypto investor. So if by the end of the video that I already recorded for an hour, but I left my face big, and with that said, I better make my dumb ass small before I do it again. With that said, if you end up liking what you see by the end of the video, leave a comment. Let me know whether you want to be a cryptillion or a crypto crackhead. If you end up subscribing, then you can let me know that, and try to hit the thumbs up for me as well. And during this video and a lot of my videos, you can watch it on ×2 speed. And if you're not a native English speaker, 1.5 times speed to get through the content faster. Also, new viewers, if you don't know what I'm talking about and I say EMAs or this and that, you might want to stop the video and look at my free content that's in the library videos. And I think it's also in the playlist on my channel, but just go to the description section. I have the best ones you should look at, and those would actually help you understand more crypto traders who don't just talk about white papers and stuff. People who talk about the price and when to buy, when to sell roughly. It'll help you drastically. So with that said, returning viewers, my Cryptillion and Crypto Crackhead and Patreon army, or my Patreon army, turn it up to ×2 speed because Disney style land, you're about ready to get Timified. Initiation of Timification, here we go. So yeah, my dumbass just was speaking for a whole hour. You're going to get the short version now. So I wanted to go back to my base of my fundamentals of 3 most probable to what ifs. And I went on a very long explanation of why holding Tether once Bitcoin gets above its weekly 10 EMA, which I've been saying on my channel for multiple weeks, on my Patreon even longer, that I guess has been getting covered by other YouTubers now, much later than what I've been covering. I've been letting folks know that holding Tether in that situation is a winning strategy. And so the weekly 10, is just the 10 EMA if you want to subtract. And I went over all the reasons why. But for this one, I'm just going to let you know it's just how Bitcoin moves, period, every time in all bullish scenarios. I'll give you one example. During the entire run of 2017, all this bull cycle, even if Bitcoin's bullish. So obviously, if a bad situation happens like this, holding Tether is obviously a good idea. I shouldn't have to go over that, right? But holding Tether is even a good scenario in bullish scenarios because I drew out the weekly 10 with a pen, so I kind of drew over it, if you can tell there. And then we went to the daily, or we can go to the daily, and see, even in bullish times, it is a winning strategy because it's just what happens. With only one exception ever in Bitcoin, like ever. There's only one exception ever, right? So what you're looking at now, that red line's from the weekly. We are on the daily right now. When Bitcoin goes below the weekly, it pops it above. If you sell above the weekly 10 EMA, this red line, even though we're on the daily, that's the weekly because I drew it and I left it there. You're going to be able to buy back lower. Every time but one in all of Bitcoin history. You can call it a fib retracement all you want. Doesn't matter. Doesn't happen because of fibs. It happens because that's how Bitcoin moves, and you have a statistical edge even in a bullish scenario that you will be able to buy back lower. Yeah. Right? Where was that one example that it didn't? So Bitcoin crashes below, comes up, hold Tether, you can buy back lower. How much lower? I think this one was like 14%. Not saying you can sell the top, but how much lower it went. Here, how much lower did it go? Not saying you can sell the tops and bottoms. You can still buy back lower. You can, even in bullish scenarios. Oh, here's the one example. So this is the one time in Bitcoin history, early April 2017, where Bitcoin accumulated under the weekly 10, but on a daily scale, right? And then it blasted through. That could happen. But that means it didn't peek its head above the 10, right? So there is one exception. If you see Bitcoin accumulate under the weekly 10 and accumulate, and it bust up, well, hold and tether in that case might not be the greatest idea because it either will go up and retrace down, up and retrace down, or it'll accumulate under. But this has only happened one time in Bitcoin history per my analysis, I think. All right, so where else? So that's kind of going into the wishy-washy part of the market, okay? And in bearish scenarios, it's very obvious too that when Bitcoin goes down and you sell, like hell, let's say you even sold it here, doesn't matter. In this case, you could have bought back way lower. Or in this case, Bitcoin crashes below, it peaks its head above the 10, you hold tether, you can buy back way lower. So even in bearish scenarios like this one, or actually bear, right? Holding tether when it gets above the red line is a good idea. And in bullish scenarios, like this, even in bullish scenarios, when it goes above, comes back down, retracement, even in bullish scenarios, it is a good idea. And even inside, there's one more type of situation that could happen. Sideways. Bitcoin generally moved sideways here, right? Oh, did I get rid of that? Oh, I did get rid of the 10. So let's draw the weekly 10 here real quick. I don't think I did this last time I recorded this. Let's just draw. Even in sideways scenarios. Now let's zoom into the daily. (2019, 2020 land). Even so, let me get rid of this EMA. Even in sideways scenario, when Bitcoin crashes down below, takes its head above, it was a good idea to be holding tether at that time because you could buy back lower. And when it peaked its head above again, holding tether, it was a great idea even in the sideways market because you could buy back way lower. So in either bullish scenarios, bearish scenarios, or even sideways scenarios, it's like you have a 98% likelihood that holding tether, regardless of whether you sell, whether you can sell here or the top. Don't worry about the top. If you can sell somewhere above, you have it might be higher than 98%. You have a 98% likely chance that any scenario, whether it's bullish, bearish, or sideways, that it's the winning strategy. And let's say that something crazy happens in Bitcoin. Let's say that Bitcoin just races to the moon, and what I said doesn't happen, right? And that could happen, but that's a what if. It's not probable. Well, in that case, let's go to the weekly. In that case, it could happen. It's a what if, but you should not feel bad about that because in that case, you took a 98. So let's say you sold somewhere. So the weekly 10's about here. You ended up selling somewhere above the weekly 10. And in one of those cases that I didn't draw here, price just, freaking continued to go up. And you say here, oh no, like it doesn't matter. That 2% trade, that 2% likelihood, if that plays out, you should not say to yourself, oh, I shouldn't have sold. I shouldn't have sold. Yes, you should have. Yes, you should have sold. If you can, even an 80% trade, you should take that 80% trade 100% of times without ever saying, oh, I shouldn't have sold. Take it every time because you are going for profitability over time, not perfect trading every time. And it's that perfect trading every time thought that makes you say, oh, I should have done this. So that leads you to not take the probable trade next time, which screws you over time. Perfect trading every time leads to you getting screwed over time, essentially. And so I will end this video. If you stay tuned, I will actually show you an exact example of that happening to me recently and how I did not act on that. And it wasn't even that statistically likely of a trade. It might have been 50-50, right? But I took a 50% trade knowing I wasn't going to be at my computer because I'm literally at freaking Disney World right now, recording this video at freaking almost 1 a.m. in the morning while everybody's sleeping in the same room. Or not everybody, I have 2 rooms, but well, folks are sleeping in the same room. And my wife is luckily not snapping at me or throwing chocolates at my head. But I took that trade anyway, and I'll show you here at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. And that just happened with Dash. Yeah, I think it was Dash. All right, so the 3 most probable 2 what ifs. These are the 3 scenarios that I think could happen. And focus on this. I drew out what I think the weekly 10 EMA could do. All right. And how price could interact. And actually, it might be slightly higher if it does go up. But in all of these cases, Bitcoin should peek its head above the weekly 10 in all of these scenarios. And even in the most bearish scenario, this red one, that is likely the one that Bitcoin actually peeks its head above the highest. Because the higher it peeks its head above without retracing down, the more likely it is to be a trap. I'm telling you right now. Honestly, the best scenario would be a what if that price comes up and does what that one scenario that I said was the exception. That's better. If Bitcoin starts consolidating under this weekly 10, like this, and starts consolidating, maybe not for weeks upon weeks, but days upon days, it just can't get above, and then one day it's going to bust up. That would be better. But if you see Bitcoin in a what if come straight up, even to 70K, doesn't matter. Massive, massive trap. Now, that's extremely unlikely. It'd probably go up to like 58. Yeah, I would say it would go 58 before it catches you. That would be, the faster it goes above without coming back down is actually a worst case scenario, right? More statistically likely that it's trapped. But these 3 scenarios here are the 3 most likely situations. Either a lot of sideways movement, potentially with a series of lower highs, higher lows, or just in general sideways. A big bull trap, which is extremely likely. I don't know if it's 50% likely, 20% likely, but it's probably in the 20 plus range. All 3 of these are probably in the 20 plus ranges of likelihood. I don't think there's any one scenario that's 50% likely at this point. You just can't know. So you need to be prepared for all of them. I'm trying to help you guys be prepared with the idea that there's a 98% likelihood that holding Tether, once Bitcoin peaks its head above the weekly 10, regardless of the scenario, it's going to be a good idea. Especially if you're holding altcoins. Like, as in, not financial advice, for entertainment only, selling half of your Pokemon cards for Tether when Bitcoin peaks its head above the 10, you have a 98% likelihood it's going to be the winning play. Even if Bitcoin makes all-time highs soon, doesn't matter. It will retrace down with a 98% likelihood. That's what I'm trying to beat in y'all's heads. Don't just buy and pray and hold, especially if you have altcoins. The only 2 potentials that you might want to do that, maybe there might be 5 things in crypto. Maybe if you're a big BTC holder, buy and pray. Maybe if you're an ETH holder. I guess there's one that's moving really well with ETH right now. I can't remember which one it is. It's some altcoin that, like, 2 billion market cap. But there are very few exceptions. So especially if you're holding altcoins, like that 98% turns into a 99.9% chance likelihood that it's a winning strategy, right? Because even this situation and this situation, if Bitcoin drops 20%, your altcoins are going to drop freaking 40. And you'll be able to buy back way lower if you're holding Tether anywhere around here, right? Based on Bitcoin price only. Like, literally, you don't even have to do technical analysis right now of your altcoins. And all of you, like, folks, like, asking different crypto traders, like, I know a lot of my viewers are asking other traders out there, cover this one. I know a lot of my triads. Stop asking people to cover your damn coin. It doesn't matter unless it's Ethereum right now. Nothing else matters. It doesn't freaking matter what your coin's doing. It matters what Ethereum and Bitcoin are doing right now only. So when Bitcoin gets above this weekly 10, no matter what the hell your coin is doing, even my BEPRO army, doesn't matter if BEPRO is still way the hell down here, way below a penny, which, well, honestly was my worst case scenario. And it doesn't matter if it's down here and you're at a big loss. Selling half of your Pokemon cards for Tether at this point is probably still going to be a winning strategy because you're going to be able to buy back lower with a 98% likelihood. As horrible as it is to sell here, it can go so much lower. Even Cardano. Cardano lost 99% of it. This isn't the right graph, damn it. Cardano lost 99% of its value. Your damn altcoins can go way lower, I'm telling you. 98.77. So has BEPRO, I don't think BEPRO's gone down 98.77, so even BEPRO folks, even if it's down there, I'm telling you, trying to help you. It's lost quite a bit, but it could go lower. I'm telling you, it could go lower. If Bitcoin doesn't recover here, it could go so much lower, folks. It could go down 90% from here. As crazy as that sounds, altcoins often lose in a bear market 99% of their value. I'm telling you. Yes, it could lose all this. It could go back down to 0004. I'm telling you, it could happen. And if Bitcoin actually does go into a bear market and Ethereum cannot lead altcoins away from Bitcoin and essentially break that, the Bitcoin leading everything and everything moves. So if Ethereum can't do that and Bitcoin goes down, it actually is guaranteed to happen, like almost guaranteed. Not just BPRO, all of your damn coins, Trias, BPRO, whatever the hell. So in this situation, it's a really good idea. But regardless, it doesn't matter how low your altcoin is. It doesn't matter if Trias is at $9 or 26 or 5. When Bitcoin peeks its head above its weekly 10, selling half of your Pokemon cards for entertainment only into Tether or stablecoins, okay, is the winning strategy with a 98% likelihood. I'm telling you, with very few exceptions. But you're probably not holding those damn exceptions. And the way you could tell if you might be holding one is if it's looking like this versus if it's looking like Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So this is Ethereum. So if it's above its weekly 10 versus Bitcoin, maybe don't take my advice because that could easily be an exception. Or if it looks like, West versus BTC way above, like it's making huge gains. Maybe not those, but there are probably 10 coins in the whole crypto space that are doing that. Very, very, very few. And I'm just super lucky that I bought a decent amount of one of those that's doing it. But if the chart doesn't look like that, your coin's going to go a hell of a lot lower, I'm telling you. And even those, even West, if Bitcoin can't recover, like West will probably end up losing 99% of its value from its top in the end. Like maybe it'll make gains for a little bit, and then it'll lose 99% from there. But all right, so that's what I'm trying to tell you. It's gonna be a winning strategy, okay? So weekly, hit the week over here. See where my cursor is? Week. Go to the EMAs, indicators. Just type in this. Like literally, look at my screen. Type that in. I think you only have to type in 5 exponential. Click it. The one that says 5 exponential and simple MA. It should pop up. Once it goes there, the gear is here. Gear. Click the first one. So that's style. Click inputs and make sure it says 10 and make it red. So once Bitcoin's above that red line, you might wait for it to get a little bit above it, because it probably will. That's your Pokemon for Tether time, okay? I'm trying to help you guys out. I'm trying to help you out. I know a lot of you will say, oh, I should have listened in the end. Even if Bitcoin goes way up here, doesn't matter. Still, with a 98% likelihood, retrace down, like I just showed you. Y'all didn't believe me. And I literally made a video as BPRO was hitting 4.6 cents. Reposted it on Twitter like a month and a half later. I said, BEPRO will move sideways for a month and low and potentially hit a penny. But when it hit a penny, I reposted it. None of y'all believed me that would happen, and almost none of y'all thought that, oh, this is a great time to sell. I told you. Okay, and so as improbable as this seemed to a lot of y'all noobs out there, so my retail investor, I'm not calling you noob in a bad way. You're just a noob. You aren't used to how low things could go. I mean, it's easy to like see how, oh, it's going high, great. But it's hard to understand how low things can go. So as improbable as this seemed, if you've been following my channel, take what I'm saying now. And you know that even more than I told you, it went lower than my targets. And none of you definitely weren't thinking that at the time when it was at 4.6 cents. Y'all were arguing with me, what if it does go higher? It's like, no, it can't. I just straight up said it can't. Like, in the same video, right? Anyway, so as improbable as that seemed, just hear me out this time about Pokemon cards for death, okay? And so these are your 3 most probable situations for Bitcoin. Sideways action. And what happens after sideways action, whether that's more down or up, I don't know. I don't know. We will cover that when it gets there. I don't know. This is a midterm analysis or retesting of 20K. December, by August, doesn't matter when, just retesting in general terms, or going bullish and continuing the bull run as normal, which hopefully, obviously that's what I hope for, but honestly, I kind of hope for this one too. This is the one that would suck the most, honestly. Just a bunch of sideways would suck. This one I will make a shit ton of money, and this one will just be easy to make money because I can throw a rocket whatever thing, and the rock will grow into money, right? This one's easy, so you don't really have to prepare for this one. You need to be prepared for this one and this one. Because if you're not prepared for this one, you're going to get screwed. But if you are, you're actually going to make the most money out of it, just like my last video I said. But in this video, I'm trying to be specific because I see that other crypto YouTubers are now saying something that I've been telling my patrons for 3 weeks. I hinted at on my show last week. Now other crypto traders are saying it more specifically, so I will say it more specifically, even though I've covered it weeks ahead of the trend, almost like most things on the channel. Not everything. I haven't gotten everything right. But I want to be super specific. It might seem improbable, but just remember the whole BEPRO thing, okay? All right. Here's one thing though before I get to showing you a perfect example of me trading profitably over time, not perfectly every time, and it's easy to fall into that trap of, oh, I shouldn't have done this, or oh, I should have, right? So is Ethereum. Where is this? I need to tag this. 23 minutes. Okay. If you understand price at all, you know that Bitcoin made massive gains before everything else. Ethereum was being a dog when Bitcoin was literally at, I think it was twice its all-time high. I don't think Ethereum had broken its all-time high. That was January. So let's go to January on Ethereum. Yeah, it was just breaking its all-time high, and Bitcoin had doubled it. Doubled it. And you had YouTubers who don't know what the hell they're saying Ethereum, at this point, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin. Fuck, no, it hadn't. Dumbasses. Like, look at the chart. Anyway, God, I can't believe people say such mathematically, factually incorrect things. But anyway, so the thing is, Ethereum, its trend this bull run, or just whatever you call this run, this year, the trend is that it's lagging behind Bitcoin. This doubling of its all-time high-ish, okay, happened after Bitcoin. Here's the tricky stuff that honestly, I am not for sure how to prepare for this yet. We will, hopefully it doesn't happen, what I'm about to say, but it could happen. I need you to be very prepared for this, because it would suck if you're not prepared. It'll be great if you are prepared, especially if you take my advice about Pokemon cards and Tether here. Is that regardless of these 3 situations, sideways, bearish, or bullish, even in the bullish sense, Ethereum would maintain its trend. It's lagging behind Bitcoin. To then make that 55% dive. Oh no, it already did, didn't it? It could revisit those lows while Bitcoin goes up. And the altcoin market could freaking tank as Bitcoin's making all-time highs. Just like Bitcoin already was making massive gains while most of the altcoin market, including Ethereum, was being a dog, not even above all-time highs price-wise against the dollar. Okay? It could happen again. And Ethereum, instead of a rounded top, could have an accumulation zone like this and revisit these lows, and this could happen when Bitcoin is doing, say, even one of the better senses. In this case, or even this case, it could happen exactly when Bitcoin's doing this shit. It's not a what if. It is a top 3 most probable scenario. This is simply the trend that it's lagging Bitcoin. Did it already make its 55% dive? Yes, but it hasn't accumulated like Bitcoin has. Bitcoin has been going sideways. For 120 days. Ethereum, last bull run, went sideways, as we already know on this channel. Now, it's actually long. It was 191 days. I'm not measuring correctly. From this candle to that candle. Or no, it's this candle. Sorry. I had to break that one. Yeah, so 200 days. And what could happen is instead of the bigger low being here and kind of the higher low here, it could be reverse. It could be, or just slightly different. It could be first is the lower, the least, the least bad one, and the second one is the bigger or a retest of this first one. It doesn't have to look like this when Ethereum goes sideways. So not only is it the trend this year that Ethereum lags Bitcoin, but it's the trend that during a bull run, because Ethereum's only had one bull run, Ethereum will have a moment where it moves sideways for a long time and revisits its lows of that consolidation. And this time, lagging Bitcoin during this trend. Even if Bitcoin's going up, Ethereum might take a nosedive back down to 1,800 or maybe only down to 2,000. But if you know what that means for altcoins, and if you're not holding Tether around that time, especially if you're a big altcoin holder, you're gonna get screwed. And if you're prepared, it's gonna be glorious because you're gonna be able to have a lot more of that crypto that you like if you're prepared for it. This is the tricky part, is what Ethereum and altcoins were doing. It's almost like being a weatherman with two, or weather person. Sorry, that's not gender neutral. I apologize. Climate scientist. It's like being a weather person telling the weather, on the news channel with two suns. Like, it's probably a lot more difficult to tell the news on those worlds, whether it's like, and around. It's not Alpha. Alpha Centauri is the local area. What's the Alpha Proxima? Alpha Proxima, I think, is the actual star's name. But anyway, because it's a 3-star. Even though the third star is kind of far away, but it's still a 3-star system. But anyway, it's like having 3 stars or 2 stars. It's a lot harder. I don't want to make a guess at this because I'm a weather person from a 1-star solar system, right? With planets. So I only want to kind of make analysis on what Bitcoin's going to do and then take it from there on Ethereum. But I want you to be prepared for that possibility, because if you are unprepared for bullish stuff, you're still going to make money. You can throw a rock into a pond and that rock turns into freaking cash. So therefore, it's better to be prepared and aware of Not just aware, but prepared. You can be aware all you want, but if you're not prepared, you're still screwed, right? So be prepared. I don't think it's a Ethereum lagging and going sideways just as long as Bitcoin is done here and just following it, even as Bitcoin's charging up. I don't think it's a what if, folks. I think it's a top 3 most probable. However, I don't want to try to tell the weather for a solar system with more than one sun. I'm going to stick with Bitcoin for now until the charts tell me otherwise. Then we'll start really digging into Ethereum. Okay. So at the end, again, I'll show you one example of me trading profitably over time, not perfectly every time. And I said to myself, oh, I should have. But one thing here on the daily chart, the one thing you should be looking out for before you should look for Bitcoin coming above its weekly 10. Here's the next step even before that is the daily 200. So I'm on the daily chart here, not the weekly. Before anything else, Bitcoin has to close a daily candle above here. It can't be at, it can't be just below. It's close. So the next candle has to start. So a candle closes and the next one starts. Damn it. Next one starts. It has to close above. Can't close at, can't close below. When it closes at, that means you need to be paying attention soon, perhaps like in 2 days or 1 day, or could be 10. You need to be very prepared for selling half of your Pokemon cards for Tether when Bitcoin comes above its weekly 10. Because once Bitcoin does that, it closes a daily candle above this orange line. Just like I called for Cardano. I said on the weekly chart. Dang it. Said to my viewers, I'm bullish on Cardano. Here's why. Because once it closes a weekly candle above this consolidation zone, which means these candles above the candles, said once it closes a candle above here, the next 2 weeks will be green. And it was actually hard to tell. Look, you had to zoom in. It closed above there on this week, right? So this week here, you can tell here, right, that week closed. And then obviously what I predicted, it's not just predicted, it was statistically like 90% likely going to happen. The next 2 are going to be green. It's just what happens in crypto. But it seems like magic to, retail investors who haven't studied price for a long time. So that in the same way as that happened for Cardano, that same thought process will happen on Bitcoin on the daily, most likely with a high likelihood. Once it closes above there, and it has to be above, and you might have to zoom way in, and you might say to yourself, I can't tell, and you have to zoom way in. But if it closes like right here, and when you're doing your normal zoom, it looks like it closes at, you need to zoom in. If it's above, and you can tell zoomed in, it's probably going to fly up relatively soon. I mean, perhaps that same week, up to the 48K to 50K range for those statistically 98% likely reasons I've already covered. So this is your next clue. Is there action to be taken upon that clue? Maybe taking 20% profits just in case it does head back down? But honestly, I would take more profits if it gets rejected. If it gets closed, honestly, I'm going to hold my stuff and wait for 48K because it's I don't know. I think that's the 90% likely trade. But yeah, if it does get rejected, I'll probably hold profits, hold Tether, and wait to buy back on a higher low. Probably start making a series of higher lows if it gets rejected and it does not close a daily above. What's the likelihood of it closing a daily above and then it comes back down? Probably 20% or less. I mean, and maybe 10%. It'll probably fly up with a very, very high likelihood. Okay, so but anyway, this is your next clue in the short-term time frame to start looking out for this midterm time frame. These 3 most probable situations. Will that clue allow us to hone in on which one of these are happening? No, it won't. It just means this, this, or this. Selling half your Pokemon cards for a stablecoin. It's coming soon. That's all it means. All right. And then my example of trading profitably over time, not perfectly over time. All right. So I let some of my VIPs and house members know of a very specific range on several coins, but on one that I at that time chose to buy was Dash. I let them know that putting in limit, I just informed them I was putting in limit buys around the 165 to 175 area, which I did. And I was getting ready to leave for a Disney park because I'm at Disney World. And something in the charts happened that told me, you know what? Even though it'll probably still go down there, I think it's a 30, it's just as probable that it doesn't. Maybe not a 50-50, but among all of these scenarios, it's almost just as likely that this was, a local bottom. And I think it happened right here. But I had limit buys in for 175, 174, 173, 172, 171, all the way down to 165. So about 9.1% of all my money available that I wanted in that trade was spread out among 11 numbers, 175 to 165, which is 11 numbers. Because 0 through 9 is 10 numbers, right? So 175. So yeah, like let's say I had $1,000 on every number. Okay. A lot of people listened to me and they kept their limit buys there. And they did trade perfectly that time. I, on the other hand, because I was not going to be available at my computer, I saw a sign which I did not let them alert them of because I knew it wasn't super likely, but it's a good thing I did. I traded this incorrectly, but it was profitable. I decided to cancel those orders right at this point that I had for here. I canceled them and I market bought about right. Let's zoom in. I market bought right there at 182. And then, obviously, within the same day as I was at Disney Park, it went down the exact level I thought it was going to go. Okay. If you try to trade perfectly every time, one of the ways that it screws you over time is that you say, oh no, and you sell here, you buy back here. You say, oh no, and you sell, and you buy back here. Over time, even though you caught it on the third one, but doing that crap over time will cost you a bunch of trading fees, and you might get in the habit of just doing it over and over and over again. And here is how profitability over time, not perfect trading every time, another way it feeds into that really, saying that you probably hate to hear, buy low, sell high, but it's so true, folks. And my profitability over time feeds into that perfectly, and why I didn't get out of that trade. Because I knew that this zone where I bought it, 182, even though it wasn't perfect trading, which I had it perfect trading, but I canceled it, I knew that this box in general is low. This range is low. So to be profitable over time, you only need to buy low and sell higher. That's it. And then do it again, hopefully not too much later. So I knew that even in the weekly or maybe a 15-day sense, that this is low within a 15-day time frame. That within a couple weeks, I would be able to what? To sell higher. So while I did not trade perfectly that time, I traded profitably, and right now I'm way in the green, obviously. And why I'm saying that is because this bull trap that could happen. Even if you listen to this and you take this video to heart, here's one way you can still screw yourself because you are your worst enemy in making money and trading, I'm telling you. Is that on the weekly scale, you might get sucked into trying to trade perfectly at time. Because Bitcoin, like I said earlier, it could scream up past this and go way above the point you sold. You sold at 50. It goes up to 58. You said, oh, I shouldn't have sold, so I'm buying back here. Similar to how I was saying, oh, I shouldn't have bought. Oh, I'll sell and buy back here, right? But just the opposite. And that's the trap. And then it goes tank. I'm telling you, there's probably like 25 to 30% chance that's what happens. And even if you watch this video, and I'm stressing, don't try to trade perfectly every time, trade profitably every time. I think within that frame, let's say if that bull trap does happen, within that happening, there's a 50% likelihood you're going to fall for it by even seeing this video. So I'm trying to reduce that to like a 2% chance. I'm saying this specifically and showing you that specific example of me on Dash. As long as you know this range within a 2-week period on the 52 mark, as long as you know that this is high, because 99% of times in Bitcoin history, it has retraced down 14 to 15%. If you know that it's super likely that this is high, even if price goes higher, you just hold your horses because that is high. And you sold high, and there's a 98% chance that you can what? Buy lower. Now, in that 2% chance, let's say price in a what-if scenario just keeps going. Goes straight up to 82K, to the same origin line, and then only ever comes back down to 64, which means you sold at 50. Even in this case, you should not feel bad in taking a 98% likely winning trade. And you should, in that 2% chance of this happening, so going straight to 82 and only retracing back down to 64, and you sold at 50. Even in that 2% chance, you should not say to yourself, oh, I should have. Let's make an acronym. Oh, I should have. Oh, I should have. Instead of saying that, you should say, I would do that shit again. If you could get, and you should feel happy that you took that trade, even though it wasn't the right one. If you can get an 80% likely trade, you should take it every time. Even if it didn't work like the last 2 times in a row. If history says that it's still 80% likely, I would do it on the 3rd time. Now, after the 3rd time, I'd probably sit out if that ever happened, and I would reassess my analysis and saying, well, now it's only a 50% chance, and I might not take the trade because history's changing, things do change, and sometimes trends totally change, right? But in that case, you should feel proud. Like even in this what if you sold at 50 and it goes straight up to 82 and it only retraces down to 62 and you buy things back higher, doesn't matter. You should be proud that you did. Because over time, that's what wins. Okay? And so my example of Dash, I did not trade perfectly, but I simply knew that this is low. This is low. So if you can buy with even let's say a 65% likelihood that this is low within whatever time frame that you want to trade, you can sell higher. That's all you need to do. When you draw the line of taking the trade, not taking the trade, I like to feel that it's almost 70% or better. I trade pretty safely, usually. Everybody has their own line. Like if you're dealing with high frequency trading or you do a lot of trades, you only need 52%. I mean, hell, sometimes you only need, you might not even need that much because there are a lot of cases, if you're a scalper, you can make profit on 9 out of 10 losing trades because you got in at the exact right time where you can move your stops and profit, which I have shown my VIPs tricks on how to do that. You can just be a total loser and make profit 9 out of 10 times. Your analysis sucks. You don't even know. You just guess. You take the trade at the right time because you have a good micro analysis. You can still make money. Will you make a lot of money? No. You'll make money 9 out of 10 trades, and over time it's profitable. Right? So I don't suggest that, by the way. I probably shouldn't have even said that. Leverage trading is a great way to lose your money. But the point is profitability over time. Okay? And reverting back to the essence of the video, this bull trap scenario. I'm telling you, that's why it's a trap. It feeds into people's desire to want to trade perfectly every time. Buy low, sell high. Don't buy the lowest point and don't sell the highest point. Just buy sort of low and sell sort of high. Okay? All right. And be prepared for this freaking bull trap, because it might be like 30% likely. Okay? All right. Y'all just got Timified. And if you like the video, let me know whether you wanted to be a cryptillion or a crypto crackhead. Got to choose your gender neutral and gender fluid crypto pronoun. Hit the thumbs up if you liked it, and we'll see you next time.